You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife. The hot tea Hurl. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. As part of the great exposure of Harry's wife, I have been examining various things that have been said to have been said or done by her. For example, the suggestion that she glued a student's eyes together as part of a hazing incident. The suggestion that she knew and quite possibly had intimate relations with Prince Andrew prior to being with Prince Harry. The suggestion that she was a yacht girl. And I have been examining these allegations with regard to the possibility of a narcissist engaging in them and ascertaining what evidence exists to support the proposition that these things happened. I make it very clear that it's very important for you to go to the evidence. There's a lot of speculation about Harry's wife, but often it must come from somewhere. Now, there are those that relish the tittle-tattle about her, that come up with the slightest bit of gossip about her and examine it over and over again, coming up with various theories and hypotheses. Naturally, if that's how they wish to live their life, they're entitled to do so. But we need to look at whether such suggestions have any actual evidential weight to them, or are they, in fact, more representative of just sheer speculation? One factor which is always going to weigh against Harry's wife is the fact that she's a narcissist, which means she operates with a sense of entitlement, a lack of emotional empathy, and a lack of accountability. She's grandiose and she's haughty. And those behaviours feed into the pursuit of the prime aims, namely the need to control people, draw fuel from them, gain character traits and residual benefits. But that doesn't always mean that a narcissist is guilty just because they are a narcissist. What it creates is a presumption that the narcissist will have engaged in such behaviour because a narcissist is more likely to do so compared to a non-narcissist. But it does not stand that just because a person is a narcissist, they have behaved this way. We need to look at there being evidence alongside this presumption. One of the further allegations that has been thrown, pun intended, towards Harry's wife is the suggestion that she had thrown hot tea over somebody. Back in 2018, some Australians were excited about Harry settling down and finding happiness, rather than being the third wheel with Catherine and William. And he came to Australia on a royal tour after his marriage to Harry's wife. There appeared to be great excitement at this, and it would appear that at least at first they were very well received by the Australians. The allegation was that Harry's wife demanded that the Governor-General, Sir Peter Cosgrove, and his wife, Lady Cosgrove, vacated Admiralty House so that the allegation was that Harry's wife demanded that the Governor-General, Sir Peter Cosgrove, and his wife, Lady Cosgrove, two individuals that are known for exhibiting class and friendliness, that they had to vacate Admiralty House so that Harry's wife could have the entire property to herself with hapless Has. She wanted this, purportedly, notwithstanding the fact that she had been given an entire wing. Furthermore, the Queen herself had seen it entirely appropriate for her to stay in the very same wing, as had other dignitaries and world leaders. But this apparently was not good enough for Harry's wife. Not only did she believe that she was entitled to the whole thing herself, but she was also content to inconvenience Governor-General Sir Peter Cosgrove and his wife. Apparently, when she was told that she could not have this, her reaction was to throw hot tea over a member of staff and this resulted in the staff member being paid $250,000 to keep quiet about the incident. That's the allegation. Many of you will be familiar with that. First of all, let us consider, is this something that a narcissist would do, and specifically a narcissist of Harry's wife's sub-school? Let us begin with the suggestion that she wanted the entire property. This is something that Harry's wife, as a mid-range narcissist, would want. Her sense of entitlement tells her that she is the queen of the universe, the empress of woke, and therefore that she should be afforded an entire property. You see, what could well have happened is that when somebody said, "We've got a wing for you," the fact that that is the suggestion that comes from somebody else means that it's viewed as a threat to control. Anybody else would think, a wing, fantastic, thank you very much. But it isn't so much about the wing, but as what it represents, namely that threat to control, because of the way that Harry's wife views the world. This then means that whatever they have suggested, no matter how objectively fine and comfortable and splendid it was, Harry's wife's narcissism, in a typical act of cutting off her nose to spite her face, responds by saying, that's simply not good enough. And therefore causes her to try and upgrade, if you will, by saying, I want the whole property, stamp of cloven hoof. Therefore, it is eminently likely that she would have perceived that as a threat to control because it was a proposal made by somebody else, and that she responded with her rampant sense of entitlement. She has no emotional empathy for how that might make people feel, and certainly she has no emotional empathy for the inconvenience and embarrassment that might cause to Sir Peter Cosgrove and Lady Cosgrove. She's haughty, she's dismissive, she gets what she wants. The fact that the Queen had seen fit to stay in the wing is irrelevant to Harry's wife. If you were to point that out to her, well, look, there's no point you getting so aerated about it. Queen Elizabeth stayed in the wing, so if it's good enough for her, surely it's good enough for you. Saying such things to a narcissist isn't going to get you anywhere. It's challenge fuel. You might think that a person would then be reasonable and think, well, yeah, if the Queen stayed in it, that's good enough for me because I'm not the Queen. But that won't wash with the narcissist because she believes that she's better than the Queen, better than whoever it is that would have stayed there before. And the fact that you're telling her to accept what she perceives as second best is only going to be perceived as a threat to control. Accordingly, having been told that she can't have what she wants, that, as you know, never goes down well with a narcissist and would amount to a threat to control. Her narcissism, in order to deal with that threat to control, will have caused the ignition of fury as it sought to propel her, to motivate her, to compel her to nullify the threat to control that has been posed by this refusal. There would be lots of different ways that her ignited fury could have manifested. It could have been cold fury, where she stamps a cloven hoof, folds her arms and glares at the unfortunate staffer. It might be that she turns on her cloven hoof and marches away. It might be that she demands that Harry sorts it out. It might be, for instance, that she turns and with heated fury lambasts this individual, shouting and swearing at them, saying, "You'll give me what I want or I'll get you fired, you fucking half-wit." It could be that she might even shove somebody in a fit of temper. Now, remember, she's a mid-range narcissist, which means she does utilise a facade, but this is taking place behind closed doors. There might only have been Harry's wife and the staff member having the conversation. Therefore, the restraint that ordinarily comes from the facade being present isn't relevant. If you can imagine that at the point that she faces this threat to control, envisage a console which has got all of the various manipulations that she could use. Verbal violence, physical violence, triangulation, smearing, insult, circular conversation, bringing up the past, future faking, flattery, whatever it might be, lots of different available manipulations. But when there are other people witnessing it, the facade light starts flashing, and it locks off many of the manipulations as not being available because they would damage the facade. Here, that facade light wouldn't be flashing if it was just Harry's wife and a member of staff. And therefore, certain manipulations which ordinarily would have been locked out by the presence of the necessity of maintaining the facade become available. And that would mean, for instance, being more obviously nasty with heated fury, shouting at a person, possibly shoving them, possibly slapping them, issuing threats against them, and, of course, throwing something at somebody. Accordingly, even if there were only a small number of other people as well, it could be that the necessity of the assertion of control was so great that it overrides the needs of the facade management also. It would be highly unlikely that she would have engaged in this behaviour in front of a crowd of hundreds or thousands. The facade aspect would be too strong. But if it was in front of no facade, or where there was only just one or two other people, there's the possibility that she would indeed have responded by hurling something at somebody as a contemptuous act of dismissiveness and as part of nullifying the threat to control posed by the refusal to give her what she wants and to punish that individual. Accordingly, her narcissism does make it likely that she would make such an entitled request, that she wouldn't care about the inconvenience and impact upon other people. She doesn't care how it looks, because she's the important Harry's wife, and when the request or the demand is refused, she responds with ignited, heated fury. So we've established a context that it's something that a mid-range narcissist may well do. But as I made a point earlier on, it doesn't mean that she definitely did it, but it raises a presumption. Having raised the presumption, now let us look in part 2 as to what evidence exists to support that this actually happened. Join me there.